If you are a Jira on-premise administrator, then you are absolutely going to love this app, because one of the reasons why I personally left on-premise Jira administration to go to the cloud was because in the cloud, I no longer have to be a systems administrator. I no longer have to go through logs or go through the database. But one of the key selling points of being on-premise is the fact that you do get all these things. But wouldn't it be nice if life was a little bit easier, if you can explore the logs a little bit better, if you can explore the database a little better, or if you didn't have to memorize all these Linux commands? Well, today's app review is going to be perfect, and it's sponsored by my good friends over at Votazz. Let's take a look at their home directory app, only available for on-premise Jira. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. Drop a like if you get value out of this video. And don't forget to check out the links down below, as you're definitely going to want to start a free 30-day trial to this home directory app. Here we are in Jira. I am in the administrative portal. Keep in mind that I am on-premise. And so I'm going to go over here to my left-hand side, and we're going to start off with the home directory browser. So what the home directory browser lets you do is it basically supports the process of identifying and resolving issues within the Jira environment, benefiting both administrators and support teams. And what I like the most is that you don't have to pull up a terminal to go looking for things. Specifically, the home directory is a very interesting place to navigate. I remember from my days of being a Jira admin on an on-premise Jira, it was very daunting, it was very scary, and it makes it very, very challenging. But with this app here, we're able to look at essentially the system folder, files, right? All the critical things that are in your home directory for where Jira is installed. And you can look at things like, we can go to data and we can expand data here, we can expand attachments, and you will see a specific project here. We can click on that, you'll see this right here. We'll go to the specific ticket, and here is the actual file. We can download it, right? No more having to memorize commands and all this other great Linux stuff. No offense to all the Linux nerds out there, but knowing Linux commands adds an extra layer of complexity to Jira admins. It's an extra skill set, and that is all alleviated here because we're able to achieve very similar, if not the same results, from a beautiful native UI that is built into Jira. So that's why I really, really like the home directory, but it's really awesome that you can basically explore that home directory with, again, not having to do all your CDs and your jumps and did I go .. / enough times, right? All that fun stuff that I know you're probably cringing if you're a Linux nerd head like me, but still for others, it makes it so much easier when you can just in a beautiful UI, be able to click with the mouse and be able to navigate that home directory. So that's feature number one that is part of this home directory app, but there's more. Down here, we can also click on database browser. And what makes the database browser cool is that we get to basically look through the database. Again, no more having to fire up your MySQL Explorer. I don't even know the names anymore, but every single one of these databases that you use to install and manage your Jira on-premise, it requires an extra level of skill, right? And God forbid that you forget a command or that you mess something up because you're just not familiar with that interface as much. Well, if you want to do something simple like searching things up in the database, you no longer have to figure out all the database administration things. You can simply come in here, pick your table. All the tables that are installed for your Jira are right here. We're going to go down to the P's though. We're going to go down so we can see the project because that's a popular table. There's also the famous CWD_user table where you get to see all the people. And so not only do you get access to every single table, but you also get a couple of common SQLs that are right here. So you can just click on all projects. And this is basically going to give you the database results. This is actually executing that select star from the project table, and it's executing it on your behalf, and it's bringing back the data. And again, no longer do we need to be in that terminal. No longer do we need to be in that extra layer of complexity of having to know these commands and having to know how to structure a SQL statement. We can simply come in here and be a little bit more curious and a little bit more safe, in my opinion, and be able to get that information that you want without having to, again, go into your database management system. And that's not all. We have one last feature that this app home directory gives us, and that is the LifeLock Browser. Now, what I like about this is because, again, in the similar note that I've been talking about all that other extra complexity, extra skills that you need to know as a Jira and systems administrator, looking through log files was my biggest nightmare. I hated, just absolutely hated, and was honestly scared of going through those logs because there's just so much happening. And I now need to go into this Linux environment, which again, I'm not very comfortable with to begin with. And now I have to go find files and I have to go cat the files, right? And it was always, do I do VI or do I do the cat or do I get the tail, right? There was just so much of these Linux commands that I just wasn't really comfortable with. But logs are really critical. They contain very important information. And look at this, inside of the Jira UI, I'm able to scroll and look at my log files. I'm actually able to pick, do I want to see the info ones? Do I want to see errors? Do I want to see warnings? Do I want to see which file, which log file, right? That was part of the other annoying part, is you had to go like on a scavenger hunt trying to find the log file that was helpful, that was trying to, give you information. Now there is one little drawback to all of this. And that is, for this home directory app to work, your Jira needs to be running. And so this is more of a monitor and audit type of situation, and a lot less like, let's react to an emergency and let's go look through log files and let's go look through the database. Because if something goes catastrophically wrong, you're still gonna have to go into the database, you're still gonna have to go into the home directory, and you're still gonna have to go into the log files. But as long as you're doing monitoring, as long as you're doing like auditing, as long as you're just, checking the health and status of your Jira, this app is perfect because it's going to give you all the information that you want, makes it really easy to just pick a specific file. It's automatically scrolling. So as interactions, as your users are working in the tool, it's going to be scrolling for you, or you can tell it not to scroll. But nonetheless, this app I think is really cool and very special because again, it takes a little bit of that complexity, a little bit of that extra skill that you just need to add on top of your Jira skills. It makes that kind of go away. And it subsides it. It puts it over to the side and it lets you focus on the mission of maintaining and keeping your Jira healthy and reviewing everything from a Jira perspective. And now you don't have to worry so much about being that system admin, because when you move to the cloud, and trust me, there will be a time, Atlassian really wants folks to get off of on-premise, specifically server, because servers coming end of life is like in 60 days, right? And so when you move to the cloud, you don't have to worry about any of these things. All these things are taken care of on your behalf. And so it's, I think, a good practice to start getting accustomed to relying on that Jira UI to do your troubleshooting, because in the cloud, you definitely have to just do log files that are in the cloud only. So I think this is a good stepping stone because it'll get you a little less accustomed to having to memorize all your Linux commands and start getting used to looking for troubles inside of the log files within the UI and looking at data within the UI, because in the cloud, the UI is the only thing you have, because guess what? Jira Cloud never goes down. So anyways, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you smash that thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you take a second here to smash the subscribe button. And most importantly, don't forget to check out the links down below, as you're definitely going to want to start a free 30-day trial to the Home Directory app for Data Center and Jira Server. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.